મિનિટમાં કરશે જટ.
A very good morning to one and all, and a warm welcome to Dr. Praveen Pankajakshan. Welcome, Dr. Praveen, to this webinar. And I welcome all our lovely parents who have joined, and lovely people who have joined, who have took their precious time out to join us. Thank you so much. So we are going to start now. So the topic for today's webinar is intuition, which is very, very important topic. We all live in the world of data today, with overload of all the information at our fingertips. And our senses gather some 11 million bits per second from our environment. But our conscious mind can only process 50 bits per second. Isn't it amazing? Yeah. And we all know that this excess data, what does it do? Creates noise, mind chatter, and whatnot, anxiety, stress, The world is fast-paced today. It's moving very, very fast. And unforeseen situations happen more frequently. When a crisis hits, can data or information be there to serve the right answer in life? We need to think about it. Moreover, how do we deal with complexity that we derive from bundles of information? And how do we make important decisions in life? We have learned to believe that rationality is what should always prevail when making decisions. Then what about that inner voice? From inside, beneath those layers of logic, there is one invisible gift that we all have, and we are not consciously using it. Yes, I'm talking about this intuition. And this intuition has received increasing interest from the scientists in the past few decades. There are sufficient discoveries to prove that intuition exists and is very, very vital for our life. Look at the human evolution. Any research in any field is the result of intuition and observation. When apple fell, when Newton saw planetary motion, and it just clicked, there is some force which pulls things down. It's not that before Newton it was not happening, things were not falling down, but it was Newton who observed and then it clicked. Archimedes' aha moment, eureka moment is known to all of us. So any research in any field is the result of observation and intuition. We all know what Steve Jobs said about it. We all know what Albert Einstein used to say about it, So not only science has proved it, but there is enough evidence that in business world as well, intuition plays very, very important role. Successful leaders and innovators, inventors, they know that they have to rely on their intuition as well, as much as they rely on their intellect. Yeah. So now we are going to talk about this topic, and we all have learned that we have to be very rational when we make any decision, and data is very important. But in order to invent something new, we have to go beyond what we already know, isn't it? That's why Albert Einstein said that true intelligence is not your knowledge, but your power of imagination. So we all know how Bill Gates studied at Harvard University, but then he created complete new set of language, isn't it? And he was the person who we know how Bill Gates have seen the market prediction, has made the market predictions, and then took proper decisions, wise decisions, and moved in right direction. And that is how we know that success story. We know the success story of Pixar, how Pixar created that Toy Story and complete animation word changed, right? So you can go through a TED talk by, this is a very beautiful TED talk by none other than Bozoma Saint John. She is like #1 most influential CMO in the world by Forbes 2021, and she was CMO of Netflix. And you can listen to her talk. It's a wonderful talk on intuition, how it changes, marketing strategies, how you should use intuition for being more creative. So we have here with us today Dr. Praveen Pankajakshan, and who is expert of both the words, data world, because he is a data scientist and he is vice president data science and AI at Kroppen. And he is also a faculty of cognitive science and technology at Amrita University. And he is a Brighter Minds research advisor. So he is expert in data and also has been exploring intuition in a big way. He is currently advising master's and PhD level students and mentoring other bachelor's degree students. He is also a senior member of the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, IEEE. Praveen has worked as a postdoc and researcher at the Institute in Paris. He has a PhD in control, signal, and image processing from Ariana, a joint research team of INRIA, CNRS, and UNS INRIA, a master's in electrical engineering from Texas A&M University, and a degree in electrical engineering from the Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. Outside of work, he is passionate about biodiversity and adopts natural and organic practices at his farm. He is a certified meditation trainer and a research advisor in Bright Minds team. We welcome you, Dr. Praveen Pankajakshan. And this is a very, very interesting topic of intuition today that we would request you to share with us. We all know that there is something very, very important inside all of us, and which helps all the leaders, all the inventors, as I already shared with everyone. So we request you to please share, what do you feel about intuition? What do you want to share about it? What is intuition? Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Surbi, and really lovely, to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me, and really honored. And it's so lovely also to see all the participants here. So this is actually a topic that is close to my heart, and I hope I can do justice to it in this particular session, because this is indeed a vast topic as well. I just want to maybe touch upon, what scientifically we know about intuition, and this is by definition, right? So the reason why I wanted to share something on is that this was also some of my own journey in discovering, both as somebody who's really passionate about science and also trying to understand, there is a lot of noise, if you may, in understanding and explaining what is intuition, right? Some people explain it as something that, you just feel inside, it's a gut feeling. Some people say that it's, like a non-rational thought, opposite of logic and things like that, right? So, so the journey started a few years back to, and as all journeys, I think it would be really incomplete if it is not, if it remains theoretical and not experiential in nature, right? So I'll just share some of from my own experience as well, and so that, and also make it a little bit more interactive, and hopefully we'll also have a little bit of games also that can give you some ideas, right?
Yeah.
Right, and but by definition, for example, there is in the dictionary there is a very standard definition is like, the ability for us to understand something instinctively without the need for conscious reasoning is one definition from Oxford. There is also another from Merriam-Webster also. But the definition which I found in scientific literature after a lot of study and investigation, which I found which is really relevant, is actually that something that your non-conscious mind, the information that is has, and that the way that it influences that to any decision that you make, and sometimes it might be completely unrelated to the decision that you're making, right? So this was actually like defined in a particular research article, and after like searching through multiple journals, this is the definition that I found, and a little bit explain also, right? Like so there is a lot of confusion between intuition, insights, and also like guesswork, right? Like so I would say that intuition stands out as a very important quality because it is like it is really related to a decision you have to take, right? And not necessarily often that decision that you would have to take and the information that you have might sometimes be very unrelated, and suddenly that the decision comes out thanks to the your own link to that, right? Now, how do you actually like I mean, we'll come to later on maybe also on how do you like connect to that and get that, right? But the key word that I want to insist on is decision, right? And there are other like similar kind of words like insights and guess, which is not exactly based on decision, right? And that's why many leaders, as Ruby was saying, that many leaders actually rely on intuition for decision making, right? Yeah, so I think that's the best definition that I scientifically found, Survey.
So as you shared about what are insights and what is chatter, what is intuition. So yeah, so can you please define more on it? Would you like to say something about it?
Right, and this is like also what you mentioned also, right? Like also on Archimedes, right? And also on Newton, you shared that, and there are a few others also. And I think we have also probably at some period in our life experienced this. There is that one particular like moment which we call now as that aha moment, something like suddenly clicks for us, and often it's not like immediately, right? It's not something on happening on the flow, but something that happens later on, at a later period of time. And maybe it's a conversation that you had with somebody and you couldn't understand it at that time, and then suddenly like you're sitting, and it's not like when your mind is active or something, you're sitting quietly, you're eating, or you're just about to go to sleep, and suddenly that conversation comes or that particular point comes, and suddenly you get an understanding of it, and just for a moment, like think back at that particular moment, right? And that aha moment. And I don't want to give that, but there is a particular process to arriving for that aha moment as well, and that is an insight, and an insight is a little bit different than intuition, at least in the scientific, like how it's codified in the scientific world, is that they say that it's really that a solution that comes, so the key word here is solution. On the previous one, intuition is all about decision making, right? While insight is all about a solution that comes, and decision could be part of that, right? So I just want to also walk you through the process also of intuition, right? And insight. And this is like actually also from a definition, as I said, for example, intuition could be a decision, it could be a yes or no thing. An example which people say is like, let's say that you want to take a very important decision in your life, should I do this or should I do that, right? Like, so it's usually a binary kind of question that you ask, so, and then, you have a answer that comes in, you have to probably, follow this versus that. And usually there is a timing to that also, should be, like the timing is very important. And I'll tell you why the timing is important. Because when you ask the question, and if you don't find the answer, if you don't, like get the answer within a fraction of a second, what happens is that your conscious mind starts rationalizing. Okay. Now, that yes or no answer is no longer based on intuition, but now it's kind of like thinking about, then it slowly starts like listing out, I'll just give a very simple example, right? Like, let's say that you want to, rent a house or buy a house in a particular location, right? So should I go for this, or should I go for, let's say you have two choices, right? Should I go for it or not, right? And, like, often they say that the best decision comes from intuitive decision, now, if you don't take that at that particular moment, and if you decide and if you don't do it, if you rather rationalize it, then you're probably thinking, okay, probably this is going to be closer to my son's or my children's school, or, it's not very far away from work. So, there's a hospital nearby, there's a medical center nearby, those are, I think, like, now your mind has started rationalizing it, right? Or the price is right, and those are things in which your mind starts, like, like adding points to that. I'm not saying that that's not a bad thing, right? Like, obviously for any big decision, you need to have those points. But what I'm saying is that when you want to make an intuitive decision, often it is that particular time, and it has to be really short interval of time before the conscious mind starts taking its rational decisions, right? And that is the yes or no point. While the insights is more, as I said, it's also a process, and you will see. So let's just go back to this earlier thought that I had regarding a conversation. You had a conversation, you didn't understand it, or you didn't, like pick up the important crux of it, and probably your mind was occupied with something, I don't know, So you just left it like that. And then you came back home. This was with a colleague, with, some friends or something. And you came back home. And now, what is the moment when really that aha moment comes? It's not when you're occupied with something. Maybe, you're, putting the dishes for washing, or you're putting something, clothes for washing, or you're like taking care of some work, That's not the moment that the aha moment comes, right? The aha moment will come, like maybe you're like sitting and eating, right? Or you might be just lying down to go to sleep, or you might be having an afternoon nap or something, right? And then that suddenly clicks, oh, maybe that's the reason why this person was talking about this, So why does that happen? Why not at that particular moment, Because when we are eating, or when we are, like taking rest or relaxing, that relaxing moment slowly, like we have like different pieces together. We have the question, we have that particular the discussion, and there is, suddenly we tap into something subconscious to us, and then suddenly it clicks, we put two and two together, and that, oh yeah, this makes sense, So for arriving at a aha moment, there is also, and this is in science, and I think with the experience also you will find it, is that it goes through that particular process, is that you suddenly impasses, like when you don't understand something, so you leave it, right? So probably your conscious mind or unconscious mind is still thinking about it. You've come out of that scenario, like Archimedes, right? He probably was thinking about how to solve this problem of the kings, like giving him about weighing the gold and the silver, right? But he came out of that, right? Like he was in the bath, and apparently, as the history goes, the story goes, right? So he was probably not even thinking about the crown, right? And about differentiating whether there is a gold or silver in it, the content of the gold and silver. And and that's when, so he's already relaxing. So the mind has to be relaxed, for that to happen. And and that's why they call it, in scientific terms, they're calling it unaware thinking. You're not even aware that you're thinking of that particular problem, right? And then suddenly you get a solution, and then you get you are doing a creative thinking on how to, progress with that solution, right? So there is a process to that, but usually I just want to mention that it is the what in the solution, like how do I solve this particular problem and things like that. So that's the basics of insights, right? Why? And and the time is very important. So and when you are asking an intuitive question, it's almost immediate. You're asking it right now, like I want the answer now. So you're closing your eyes or not closing your eyes, and immediately you get that the answer to that particular decision that you're making. While insight is a process, and it need not necessarily like happen immediately, right? It might or it might not, right? And the other is guesswork, right? Like guesswork, as you know, is like random, right? Like in a yes or no, like 50% chance of getting it right, right? 50% probability, right? So and then it's like whether you choose one or other, like there's a 50-50 chance. Right. So that's actually like the difference, what I would like to mention. And I hope you're able to recognize that also in your day-to-day life from now on.
Yeah. That's true. So we are very inquisitive to know science on intuition, because we know that all the scientific researches are based on intuition and observation. But because our mind has learned to be, rational in doing anything. So would you like to say something about science on intuition?
Right, right. So even in the science, like people have been a little bit hesitant on intuition, like it's been a subject which is, a selected few people have been working on it, and it's totally by chance that a few people have been like, fortunate enough to work on that particular problem, right? And the most, famous one, I think you must also be knowing, there are, like a lot of movies also made on it, is Daniel Kahneman was it was an economist, and also along with his, friend, he was working on decision making since a long time, so since his time in Israel, and then, moving to the US. But he wrote this book called Thinking Fast and Slow, and there's a lot of research articles also which he had written, and very interesting. There is a very good book also, apart from this Thinking Fast and Slow, I can recommend, which is called The Undoing Project, in which they talk also about the journey of Daniel Kahneman and his friend, who was also an economist. And in fact, they, like whatever I was explaining is that they also mention this, they call it the system 1 and system 2, right? In scientific definitions, there are many definitions for intuition, but in Professor Kahneman's work, he more refers to intuition as system 1 thinking, while the rational thought process, he calls it as system 2, and it's a very beautifully explained about both of them. And in fact, like there is, I think you must be knowing the famous movie called Moneyball, and and there are others as well. Like so in NBA, for example, a lot of the drafters, by the way, they used to go for like kind of going through their experience and everything. So there are a lot of discussions that happened both in statistics, economics, and science, after that particular incident, where a drafter actually like started looking at data, and and also how to make proper decisions, intuitive decisions, and all of that, right? The other one is also a chance finding, and this is a very interesting study, by the way, and this is one thing which I really loved as well. And this is by two psychologists, Professor Gur and Sakem. And this is recorded as well. Like this study was very interesting because they use something called as galvanic skin response. Like an it's a very a nifty tool. So the galvanic skin response actually measures the conductivity of your skin. So I'd not go into the details of it, but you have like, you wear a particular device around particular strap. Yeah, you wear this strap around your fingers, right? And this looks like almost like my my audio phone. But what it measures is the the conductivity, or the what they call as the electrical thermal response of your skin, right? So anything that like whenever there is your arousal system, right? Like whenever something like arouses your physiologically, and then actually your skin starts conducting, right? Or it starts resisting, either way. So that is what is like measured, right? But I'll not go into the details of that. That's a bio or physical measurement technique. But what they found is that they were actually like, for a few participants, they had actually recorded their voice, and they actually played it back. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but if you have like some prior recording of your voice, or without a video, sometimes you'll be surprised that you're not able to recognize your own voice, or you feel really odd about it. A lot of people have this feeling where they feel really odd about their own voice, and so what these researchers did is that they recorded people's voice, and they they mixed it, and they played it back to them, to ask them to recognize their voice, and instantly, like, most number of people could not recognize the voice among the list, so they recognized the wrong one, or they couldn't recognize theirs at all. But what they also did is, while they were playing it, they had this galvanic skin response system attached to them as well, so even before, so, again, this is a decision that they have to take. Is this recording theirs or not? Yes or no answer, right? So there's a binary decision, right? And so when you're hearing from your sense organ, so which is the auditory sense, and you're taking a decision, yes or no, okay? And this was, by the way, very chance finding, okay? It was not intentional. And then what happened is, like, they found that their skin conductivity, for example, the galvanic skin response, even before they had said the yes or no, it gave a signal confirming that it's that when their voice was played, it gave a confirmation already that it was their voice, even before they took the decision. And then, they gave the auditory response saying that it is no, because they didn't recognize it. But their skin had always told that, that it was actually, their voice, right? So, I mean, I've just simplified the whole experiment for you, but if you're interested, you can go and read the details. But this is actually pointing out to an important point, that your system is intelligent enough to identify, again, the question could be like, how does your system identify that and everything? But irrespective of those kind of questions, it has actually recognized that that's your voice, and despite the fact that your auditory system, your own brain and auditory system, didn't recognize it. So there is something within us which is able to do that. And in fact, like, a lot of GSR is used many of the times in I think in movies and everything. You must have seen the lie detector and all of that, right? Like, if you're saying no, like, somehow inside yourself, did you actually see this person, during performing this crime or something, and, you might be saying no, but that you were seeing that it shoots up, right? So it's already, your system has already said that it's a yes, so that's a very common example where it's being used. But this particular use case was very interesting. And there are a lot of recent studies as well, but it still is a very recent concept of studying intuition, because many people have been, for example, in management, like you said, decision making has been, a lot of managerial studies have been like done on how like very important leadership qualities is dependent on intuitive decisions, so there is a lot of study around that as well. But that's a long answer to sorry, your question.
Yeah, no, so it's actually interesting when we go for science behind intuition, because we verify it from our day-to-day life, but then we are always inquisitive. How is it happening? How is it possible? How it is there, like that. Okay. So you were sharing about few activities that can be done with our participants. So
yeah, so this particular activity, I mean, because we are in remote, I would. There is also a question, but maybe question they can take towards the end, no? So it'll be like.
Yeah, towards the end, we will take all the questions. We will have sufficient time for questions and answers.
Okay, sure. So what for this particular activity, yeah, you can go to the next slide. It's all about, there is, it's a very simple one. And, it's actually a flashcard. So, yeah, you have to press it yeah, 1 second, hold on to this, you go back.
So Dr.
Yeah,
Praveen,
okay.
you have this option of, screen sharing. And I can give
No,
you.
this is fine. This is fine.
Fine?
You'll go ahead with that, So don't press the next one. And,
Okay.
and I'll, so we'll go to that. Like I just explained the rules of the game. Okay, so you have to keep your fingers to the keyboard. And this is a very simple activity. So you have to, you can choose, again, this is a decision you have to make between left or right. Okay, so there is, it's a very common flashcard, which is, by the way, used by, there is, Glenn Doman, who was actually into child development. Dr. Glenn Doman, he uses these flashcards, and Shichida as well. So these are called as Glenn Doman cards or Shichida cards. So I thought that would be very nice to do it for this particular webinar. So you'll see that there are 2 cards on the left and right, not yet, I'll just show that. And they are filled with dots. Okay, so you have to intuitively decide which has more number of dots. Okay, the left one or the right one. Okay, and if you decide, so if you feel it's the left one to your left, right, when you're on the screen, if you feel it's the left one, it's numbered 1, right? The number 1 is below it. And the next one is number 2. The right one is number 2. So in your chat window, you can type 1 or 2. So 1 means left, you're choosing the left card. 2 means you're choosing the right one. Okay. So if you guys are ready, I hope everyone is okay to participate in it. So remember that, I mean, there is a 50-50% of chance of getting this right. So, right. But I also want to find out the intuition of the group itself. Okay. So maybe the group can, become intuitive. So let's try it. Okay. So just press 1 time, Surbi.
Should I press 1 time?
Yeah, just 1 time. Okay, your time starts now. No counting. Which one has more number of dots, left or right? 1 or 2. Just put 1 or 2. Don't look at the answers that's coming in. The first thought that comes to your mind, immediately put it without any rational decision. Just press 1 or 2 and
should I change?
Go back left. Yeah. Okay. Remember that, don't follow the group. I mean, it's not necessary that the group should be right, so follow your intuition. Okay. Okay, if everyone had it, you can now go to the next one. I can click the next slide. Yeah, let's see what comes. One more. Once more. Yeah, the left one has 28 dots and the right one, it has 1 dot extra.
Yeah. So.
But believe me, like, that's why I said don't go with the group. I kind of gave it away, the hint. A lot of people put 1. But by the way, like there are a lot of kids who are not, the Glenn Doman kids, they can actually, like, at a certain age, they even will give you the number. They'll actually say that the left one is 28 and the right one is 29, but this is, and there are many kids who would actually get this right, the first time itself, by the way, left and right, don't worry about it. This is just the first time. So if you got it wrong, don't worry about it. But this is a very simple yes or no question, right? But there is one more activity, and that will be a much longer activity. So I have a set of cards also. Yeah. but we can also come to that. So those who got the number 2 right, I mean, if you feel like sharing in the chat, let me know what thought went inside when you said at number 2. We can do the card game now or later, but maybe we'll come to the card game later, Surbhi. I wanted to just discuss one thing also about, the Brighter Minds program itself, and then we'll come to the card game. Yeah.
So we are talking about how to develop intuition, that we are interested in practical thing. Like we know, okay, that this works, this is very important, but then how to develop, that is very important to know. So,
Right.
yeah.
Sure. So, I mean, you are a trainer of Brighter Minds as well, and this is something that we have been exploring for many years. So Brighter Minds is all about multimodal training, right? That means it's not just one particular, and there's not just one particular modality of thing. Like it has like multiple different things, like exercises, relaxation exercises for the mind, for breathing exercises, music, and I'll come to sensory substitution later. Some aerobic exercises, something physical for movement. And most importantly, I think with the environment as well, what kind of environment we give. There is evidence. Okay, by the way, yeah, okay. There is some thought that came on the chat, but I'll address that later. But that's a very good thought as well. But there are some scientific evidences again on the combination of all of these elements as a necessity means for cognitive enhancement, right? And combine this together, actually, like what we call as enhancing the current capabilities of a child, or even, in the Brighter Minds, we also have the restart program, right? And for adults as well. But no matter whether it's a child or an adult, and I want to keep this, like open for everybody, because I truly also believe that, while the children's development of intuition and abilities is much faster than the adults, but, we can't, also exclude the ability of adults to develop intuition, right? We have seen it also in many of our own, immediate use cases as well. But there are some there are reasons why all of these 4 elements are very, very important, right? So as I said, like, for any intuitive decision, if, for example, if your mind is filled with fear, or if you're stressed or anxious, it's probably not the right time to take that particular decision, probably, because then automatically your mind goes into a rationality, because it goes into a defensive mode, into that. When your fear comes in, there's a fight or flight mechanism comes in, and most likely you're going into a rationality to justify the decision that you're taking, So one primary element is probably like calming mind, So, and we have like evidence that when you do a relaxation and you keep doing the relaxation exercises, that can actually lead to a permanent change in the way that your mind is itself. So calmness of the mind need not be at that particular instant, but it can become a permanent quality in itself. It can be a permanent feature of the brain itself, right? Any person's brain, And that's really possible. That transformation is amazing and beautiful to see, right? Physical exercise is very important because, like, the movement, for example, a lot of children these days, they don't have enough movement, I feel. Like they really have to, like the olden days, we used to be involved in a lot of physical activity. And I believe that, the complete activity, physical exercise, movement, enables certain, part of the brain, especially related to coordination and everything, to function. And that's also very critical, I feel. So the whole brain development is what we insist on. And I'll also talk a little bit about sensory substitution. And the environment has a very important role to play. So there are also very recent scientific research done on both of these as well, right? On sensory substitution and also on the effect of environment, right? And so maybe I'll also a little bit explain about sensory substitution, right? It's not so. What is sensory substitution? Sensory substitution was something which became very popular by a professor by the name of University of Wisconsin in Madison, Dr. Paul Baccarita. And he was an American neuroscientist, and he was interested in this particular topic um, along with the neuroplasticity for multiple reasons because of his own personal journey. But he found that there is, sensory substitution happens in certain cases, right? And it is like when you have like normally, for example, right, like there is um, like you have like your eyes, your nose, your ears, everything has a designated stimulus for it, right? The eyes is visual stimulus, the nose is the odor stimulus, the ears are auditory stimulus, the tongue is taste stimulus, right? And you have the touch stimulus as well, right? Tactile stimulus. And each one of them have its own like designated sense organ for it. Now, what happens in sensory substitution is when one sense organ takes over and actually starts sensing the stimulus, which is normally meant for the other sense organ. A very common case is tactile touch taking over the perception of the eyes, right? Eyes, the visual is meant for eyes, but there can be situations where the tactile actually takes over the visual role. And maybe you are quite familiar with it. There is a very popular example of sensory substitution device. I don't know if many of you have guessed that, but it's actually what the blind people use for the visually impaired use for moving around in their environment, right? Like they have these canes, right? Like or they use sometimes other assisted modes, but they go around like tapping the surface of where they're walking and also sensing the environment, right? In fact, believe me, like for people who have been recently impaired, that means they had vision early in their life, and suddenly they lost their vision, in recent period of time. Because those who are like congenitally blind since their birth, they don't understand, they can't actually give a visual image. They can't understand visual images. They don't understand what it means to have a visual image, because they are blind from birth itself. But those who have been recently, impaired, right? They have a notion of images, right? They know what it is and to have an image. And in fact, they, when they actually sense the environment through their touch, it actually recreates visually, so there is an image recreated from in their mind, in the brain, right? So this actually, when you do an MRI study, this was an actual study which was made, and they found, so the visual cortex is somewhere here, right, in the back part of the brain. And those were recently impaired. When you give them, something to touch, as against those who are, blind from birth, or those who have, those who are not blind, for example, So touch sensors, activate a different part of the brain. But for these, the visual cortex is for those who are recently impaired. It's the visual cortex that got, highlighted, right? Which actually points out to the fact that somehow their brain is reconstructing a visual image of the object which they sensed. Okay, and they didn't sense it using their primary visual perception. They sensed it through their touch, right? So that's interesting, So in fact, so that's what we call a sensory substitution, tactile taking over the role of a visual perception, right? But that's not the only example. So that's a very simple example. And there are, Paul Baccarita, in fact, he devised a device, for example, to using the tip of your tongue, to reconstruct visual images, so some people use sound as a mechanism, some have like, they carry a backpack and, there's stimulus sent to the back of the, and then, somehow they're able to reconstruct the image. So there are multiple devices like that. But the summary of all of that is that these are devices which were built to sense the environment based on touch, right? While the sensory substitution can actually naturally also happen to human beings, and provided that somehow you mask your primary perception. So in general, like, you were talking about, Surbi, right at the beginning, about data, the information, right? And in fact, like how much of the maximum amount of data and our information actually comes from the visual perception, right? Like we are on devices, and we are seeing, it's incredible the amount of information that we get with the objects that we see around us. It's just constantly like recording everything, right? Now, if, for example, we mask our eyes, right? The moment we start masking eyes, it can be using like, actual mask that, like we do in Brighter Minds, or it could also be like, you yourself take the time to, and this is where I'm coming about how to develop, you take the time to somehow limit your visual perception, right? I'm not saying that, use it when it's really required, if you're really, like moving somewhere. But if you limit the amount of visual, information that you're receiving, now what happens is we have to, all our sense organs are important, slowly we start using also the other sense organs in a balanced way, so not only the visual cortex, but even, the ears, the touch, smell. That's why, as soon as you close your eyes, suddenly you start, listening to all that, the sounds and everything, which you are probably not even aware, so suddenly you are tuning into your other perceptions, right? And that's very important because, and now, and if, for example, if you want to take a decision, the best thing to do is close your eyes, and, first allow, so don't ask immediately the question, like that you want the answer for. Close your eyes and so that's the limiting, right? So you don't want any distractions. When you close your eyes, distractions get reduced and you're turning inwards, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is now, despite all of that, like your mind is still active. It's still going to throw visual images in terms of thoughts, everything, right? So now you have to reduce that, right? Once you reduce that, and then you will see that then slowly you pose the question, and then you wait for the answer, for the yes or no. And you will see that often the answer that comes is from intuition, Now, you can try this with smaller decisions that you want to make, not the important one, and see if the best way is by exercising it, right? You see if you get it right the first time, second time, and you'll see that as you start exercising it, somehow you are able to, from all that noise, you are able to pick out that particular signal which corresponds to your intuition, and that with practice you will see that that becomes your strongest signal that comes, among all the noise, right? And over a period of time that becomes the strongest signal, and it's, there's nothing else other than that, and you just don't have to do all that exercise. As soon as you close your eyes, and just pose a question, the answer comes, right? And this we have often we have seen this with children, for example, and in children they are able to do it within a few sessions, right? So you have experienced this, we have seen this also, like in a couple of sessions itself, like children are able to get that, right? They're able to tap in naturally to their intuition. Why does that happen, and I have a rational explanation to it, and maybe also intuitive explanation, which you might also link to it. And the reason is you see, like right from their very young age, the children's perception is slowly developing. It's not like It's not suddenly, like they don't have the all their sense organs working simultaneously. So in fact, at their very young age, children are naturally intuitive. Because young babies, for example, their visual cortex is limited. They can only see up to a certain depth of perception, right? Their smell is limited. Their hearing is limited to their mother's voice and parents' voice and those who are familiar with it. And slowly you see that their perception develops, right? And that's very important because that's the reason why children are naturally intuitive. So in fact, what we are really doing by helping children is that it's not like we are developing their intuition, but we are in a way excuse me we are in a way helping them unlearn what they have learned. Like it's just going back and saying that they actually have it and how to shut the other sense organs and listen to that, which they already have. But for adults, it's like that unlearning process is something that we have to still consciously do, right? And but it's not something which is difficult either, and definitely not impossible, right? Definitely not impossible.
So we have a few children over here. I have invited them. I don't know whether they could join or not. I invited Maladi and Diva. Are you there, guys?
Yes.
Can you please put your videos on? Hi, Maladi.
Hi.
Welcome you to this webinar.
Thank you.
So Maladi has done, Dr. Praveen and our lovely audience, Maladi has done Brighter Minds Alpha and Alpha Plus program. And Maladi, would you like to share anything about it?
Sure. So as Ms. Survi said, I've done both Brighter Minds Alpha and Alpha Plus programs. I've been doing it for almost about 8 years now, so quite a while. I'm currently 15 years old, and as a teenager, I can really see the benefits of the program, and I can see like how I've grown from when I was smaller to like now, especially because now as I'm in high school, and it's a little difficult to navigate through all of that. Taking decisions is very important, and there's so many that you have to take at this age, from like which courses are you taking to what extracurriculars are you going to do to when are you going to do your homework, if you're going to do your homework. So you have to know what to do. You have to choose wisely, and I think the programs have really helped with that, because I myself can see there's a huge change in my intuition. I make decisions a lot more efficiently, and usually I think when I started the program, that sense wasn't there, also because I was younger, but also because it was like something that was not unlocked and not tapped into just yet. The program really did help bring that out, and it helped me choose things more wisely. It made me understand what I should do. It helped me make split second decisions, and it's helped my focus improve as well, because without it, it's a program that helps you understand where to put your mental energy and where to focus everything in. It's helped me, make better friends, understand like what types of people I want to have around. And in like, just to sum, it's just like it helps you make decisions that shape your entire future.
Yeah, so thank you, Maladi. It's important as teenager that you shared. And we have our dear one more child whose name is Diva. Hi, Diva, welcome. You can unmute yourself, please. So when last time I was talking to Maladi, I was very excited knowing all this, and I was excited to know that it's helping her as teenager, because when we trained her in Alpha, she was really small. Alpha Plus we did 2 years ago, right, Maladi?
Yeah, almost 2.5, 2 years.
Okay. So Diva is here, and I guess her father is also here. Hi, Rajeshji. Diva, so Diva wants to show some activity. She said that I want to show something. So maybe I can request my lovely audience, if you can put your video on and I can give you a spotlight, then you can show any object that you want to Diva, and Diva would try to feel something about it. So we have Sunil Rathiji with us. Welcome, sir. You are muted.
Yeah, I'll just unmute myself. Thank you.
Where are you from, sir? Thank you.
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Okay. Welcome you to this program. So this is Diva. We have Sunil ji with us. And Sunil ji, you can show any random object. Diva would be sitting with her eyes closed, and you can share any random object. Diva is saying her microphone isn't working. It's okay. No worries, Diva. You can write in the chat box whenever you want. But then how would we
Maybe
do?
you need to unmute herself because
Yeah. Just unmute yourself, Diva. Try.
I think you need to do for her because I wasn't able to do myself.
Oh, Diva, just check. No. So remove any cord or something if you have put something. Can you join from mobile?
Or we could do something. Maybe her father can just type. While she has blindfolded, she can mention to her father, and her father can type it. Yeah.
Yeah, but her father is seeing, no? So how would audience be sure that father?
Yeah. That there is no prompt.
I have seen that enough evidence into Kaun Bana Crorepati, so I'm already found a fan of this program.
So Rajesh, maybe
last 1 year to get the right content, and I think I'm landed in the right place.
Rajesh, if you can come on the screen and close your eyes, and whatever Diva says, okay, you are also not able to speak when microphone is not working. So can we do one more thing? Dr. Praveen, I don't know whether I'm just putting my scientific mind. So if he speaks on the phone, I just put phone here. Now it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll put my blindfold on.
All right. So rest assured, these children are really, really honest and very innocent. And all the children do it. I mean, I'm amazed to see how every child does it, So Sonali ji, actually, I have given a spotlight to Sunil ji right now. I'll give you after this. Yeah, Diva. Sunil ji, you can show any object that you want. Okay, Diva.
Okay.
Over to you.
Is it black?
So Sunil ji can say yes and no.
That's correct. Yeah.
Is it a wallet?
Oh yeah, perfect, awesome. I can't imagine. Oh
Yeah, Diva, it's wallet. You can open your eyes and check. Yeah. You want to see? Do you want to see, Diva?
Yes.
We have one more very small child, Sonali. So Sonali is mother or child?
Mother.
Thank you, Sunil. Okay. So mother is Sonali. Sonali ji? Okay, all right. So we thank Sunil ji for participating. Thank you, sir, for sharing your wallet. I've been showing your wallet.
Thank you putting me on the spotlight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have now Sonali ji is mother. And what is the name of child?
Arohi Preska Sarafem.
Ahoy, okay. And where are you from?
We are in Fremont, California right now.
All
Oh,
right,
okay,
all
wonderful.
right. So wonderful. We welcome you. We welcome you here. And Diva is here. So Diva, you can, if you want, you can again close your eyes. So little one was showing something, but then, so you can show something else now, okay? And I ensure you all the children do so amazing. I mean, they are just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Diva, it's she has shown it. Yeah.
Is it blue?
What?
Blue, is it blue?
Blue, she's feeling blue. Just try a little bit more. Things are blue in the surrounding. That's why you might be feeling.
Oh, okay. I'll try that.
Yeah, now focus.
Is it a water bottle?
What?
Is it a water bottle? No? Okay.
Similar shape. Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar shape. Yes.
Is it white?
Yes.
Yes, it's white.
Is it a candle?
Is it a candle? Yes, it's a candle. Yeah, thank you, both the children. Thank you so much.
That was tough.
Yeah, little tough. Okay, thank you, Sonali ji. Thank you so much. I have a message from Sudhir Patel ji. And Sudhir Patel ji says Prisha did alpha program and she wants to show an object to Diva. All right, so maybe last object we can take. Okay, so this is Prisha, right? Your name is Prisha, right?
Yeah.
Okay, where are you from, Prisha?
I'm from Los Angeles.
Okay, all right. So would you like to show any object to Diva?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, so Diva is here with you.
Turn off the background.
Yeah, you have to turn off the background.
Let me turn off the background.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Diva, there is a background enabled, so that's probably causing the
Okay.
object to kind of like be masked as well. So we're going to turn it off. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. You can show it now, sweetheart. Yeah. Okay, Diva.
All right. Is it pink?
Is it pink color?
No.
Focus a little bit more. A little bit more.
Is it red?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's red.
Is it like a fish or something?
No.
But its shape is like fish.
Shape is like fish. Yeah, that's right. You can share anything that comes to your mind, any thought that you are getting.
Yeah, I'm just feeling a pink oval. That's it.
Oh, you're picking color. Okay, okay. Yeah, you can see the object, Diva. Good
She was
job done.
right. She said it's a red, pink oval one.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually a stone she painted like in red.
Oh.
Yeah, but
Okay.
its shape is fish-like. Yeah, very nice.
No,
Very
she
nice.
said oval at the end. She said pink oval. She said.
Oval shape, yeah.
Yeah.
Oval shape. So shape she got, color she got. Thank you, Diva. And thank you, Prisha. And thank you, Sudhirji.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Diva, would you like to say something?
Yes. So I just like to share that intuition is very helpful for just daily basis. Like helps you a lot in focus, and like it helps you choose the right friends, like who you want to be around. And it's also a very cool thing, a cool ability to have. So I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, it's cool thing because you know why? Because they feel very confident when they are able to feel something, and then they learn to appreciate their own selves. You know, the whole life we depend on others, we seek appreciation from others, but when we know that whatever we are feeling is right, so like Dr. Praveen, you said, no, it's like a muscle that should be trained. So more small activities that we do, and then when we come right and we feel really happy about it, and then slowly we observe that change in our day-to-day life as well. Studies, sports, when you are able to get that, they feel happy. So it's really cool thing for children. They become very happy, but overall objective is to benefit them for the life. Thank you, Diva.
Deva, I almost felt like you were going to say that I feel like X-Men,
Yeah. So now,
woman, X-woman.
yeah.
Right.
So we can, because we are running short of time now, so maybe we can open the floor for questions.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to ask anything or share anything or say anything, you are most welcome.
There were a few questions on the chat window. Should we take those?
Yeah, we can. So I'll just go through from the beginning. Okay. So, Dr. Praveen, are you seeing any question there?
Yeah, I saw one. Kalpana ji was asking, how do you differentiate between intuition and imagination? That's a great question. And imagination could be like a lot of things, right? Like there are many things that can come to your visual, your brain. Let's say that I say that imagine, I don't know, a raccoon riding a plane, flying to a moon, some people, for example, cannot do that. There is a condition, neurological condition in which they cannot actually, imagine. But I'm sure that if I say a raccoon on, flying on a plane to the, moon, you've already pictured, a raccoon probably sitting on top of a little flight, with rotors and things and then flying to the moon, right? So that's kind of imagination, I think, and there is a lot of visual thing in it. And intuition, often when it appears for different people, it's different. I can tell you that, that's an important thing which I missed out. For some people, it can be like an image which they see. Some people, it's a feeling, like an different. We have seen different kinds of children also having, and it's really there. You have a characteristic which is unique. It's really like an X-Men thing, like you have your thing, which is really yours, So it need not necessarily be visual in its perception. It can be even sometimes something else, it's a feeling, right? So that's the difference. So imagination is really something related to the brain, to the visual and things like that, but intuition can be much more than that. And it's not something that you're imagining, but it's something that you feel, it's something that comes from suddenly, right? Okay, so I hope I addressed that. Then I think like there is another question, I think from Kalpana ji as well, between intuition and perception. So perception is still related to your sense organs, so there is a data associated with it, that's when I think Surbhi, when she started off as well, she mentioned that like you can perceive many things. Sometimes like you're perceiving something in your environment, which might not actually be the truth, but when you close your eyes and then like, ask yourself the question, is this the yes or no? If you try to take that decision again, then you will often, that is usually intuitive in nature, and especially during COVID times, for example, right? We didn't have prior data itself, a lot of decisions, important decisions in organizations, for example, we have never seen such kind. We don't have historical evidence for pandemics and, to really take a decision on what we should do. So not only leaders, governments, they actually were stuck because you can't depend on data, right? There's no prior evidence of anything, something similar which happened. And even if it did happen, some big pandemic, it happened like a century ago or more than a century ago. And we have like no evidence of how people reacted to it, how they took decisions and everything, right? So when you don't have any data, and that's when, like you don't you cannot rely on your rationality as well. You cannot rely on perceptions, right? Because you're not seeing it, you don't know what to do, right? And that's when like, it's, you need to take decisions based on intuition, right?
So many times, yeah, Dr. Praveen, I would like to add here, because many times when crisis hits, as I said earlier, we cannot surf and get answers for life. We have to go our within, our inside, and then find out. So that is why the point that you made in between, that condition of mind is very, very important. Right. So that is why it's like a muscle that we should build. We should actually do something every day to create that condition of mind. So here I would like to share with all the parents that Heartfulness Institute offers wonderful techniques, beautiful techniques, and it is there in Hearts app. You can take this app. That is a free app. You can meditate as per your convenience. There are relaxation techniques that you can experience, and heartfulness meditation sessions for adults. They are sponsored by Heartfulness Institute, so they are not chargeable for you, right? So you can experience it, and they are wonderful sessions. I mean, I have been meditating for last 25 years with this organization, and trust me, Dr. Praveen, when I joined, I was a student, and I benefited a lot, really. So parents and everyone can experience that heartfulness meditation. And Brighter Minds is anyway available for children and parents as well, adults as well. We have program for adults. So these techniques are actually investment on our own self, because once your condition of mind is proper, once your things are settled, then you get benefited everywhere. So many a times parents talk to me and say, my kid has to go to soccer and then creativity and many n number of places. So would Brighter Minds be one of them? I used to say that see, Brighter Minds give you a base for everything. Once your cognitive skills improve, you become better at soccer, you become better in every sport, you become better in studies, you become better in your life, as a person. So I think this is the base that all of us should have. When base is stable, when roots are deep, when base is stable, then growth will be enormous. What do you say?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a great thought. And in fact, like that's like you can never handle a symptom, right? We'd have to go to the root of it, right? And if we are able to, solve from the root, right? And I don't think the answers are going to come from outside, right? There's going to be more information, there's going to be more confusion, right? And that's when like we'd have to really turn inwards, and definitely like meditation is something that, and if you think about it, meditation is like you close your eyes, right? The first thing that you do when you think about meditation is to limit your sensory perception, right? That's very important. And you'll see as soon as you close your eyes, the thoughts keep coming. And the heartfulness meditation is, we have techniques to reduce the amount of thoughts, and when an important decision has to be made, there is this exercise called the cleaning, right? You can actually spend a few minutes and do the cleaning, and then and you have like this rush of thoughts and everything which is done, and then close your eyes, and with that mind, and then you ask the question, and the response which comes is usually like intuitive, right? Like and I think that's also answering to Shivba ji's question, is there any spiritual basis to such thing, and actually we were just discussing also with Surbi, prajna is something which in yoga, Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, it's mentioned, intuition is, it's actually a traditional thought as well. So there is, evidence in literature, at least in the Sanatana Dharma, literature of that. I don't know if there is any in other literature, but definitely I know in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and also in certain of the Sanatana Dharma or Hindu philosophy books, there is definitely mention of intuition. In fact, Swami Vivekananda was known as the intuitive, scientist, by the way. And there is definitely is, a basis for that, right? And the most important thing is like, there is also a spiritual angle for children to develop also intuition, I feel, because, that's, they're using it for their own improvement and for also with connecting deeper with themselves and also with, with the source or God or divinity, right? And when they are truly connected with themselves, they're connected with God, and, the answers come also in a way that, from a higher sense of perception, I might say, like for lack of better word, so maybe it's even you could even call it beyond intuition, it's a super intuition, maybe, that connection with the highest entity, right, which we call as God. So that definitely is, like that angle as well.
Yeah, so highest consciousness is there inside all of us, just to tap into that. Your heart has enormous resources, infinite resources, how to tap into that. So having said that, Shweta ji is saying, thanks for sharing great insights on intuition, Dr. Praveen. Please share this recorded meeting. Yes, we will. My kid started with Alpha program and currently is in program. Congratulations. And she would be amazed to see Diva. So Diva has done Alpha Plus, Shweta ji. And anytime you are, please feel free to connect with us. And thank you so much.
There is one question from
Sunil ji. Yeah. Can someone start this at the age of 13 also? Yes to this question. And is this course for parents? Yes, it is available for adults as well, so you can also experience. So most welcome, Sunil ji. Your kid can join and also you can join.
So one question also additional, right? How do I get the details of this program and other information? Sorry if it's already
No worries. So you have already registered, right?
Yes.
So do we have, if we have your mail ID and mobile number, maybe I will request team to share recorded video with you and also a few more details.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we'll share with everyone. I think this is done. And there is one more last question we can take, Dr. Praveen. I know it's getting late for people, but I'm also happy that everyone is here with us, even if we exceeded the time. So thank you so much for that. And Shri Deepti ji is asking, how do ADD kid get the intuition through this meditation? Because their mind always dynamic even if the eyes are closed. Yeah, mind is restless. So same point, condition of mind is important. That is why in this Brighter Minds program, like Dr. Praveen shared, it's a multimodal training program. So there are various activities that are done, and through that condition of mind is made proper. For ADD or ADHD children, it may take little longer. I mean, it will not be 30 hours of program, but maybe we can connect one-on-one and discuss on this. But like Dr. Praveen said, it's mind is mind, right? Every mind can be trained. Am I right, Dr. Praveen?
Yeah, and I mean, there is some discussions also around in the science regarding ADD and ADHD as well. And in general, I would say that, I mean, this is irrespective of this question, but is that in general, we find that in people, I mean, children are, we observe that they are, I mean, irrespective of whether they've been diagnosed. I don't know if this particular kid was diagnosed or not, but in general, we have observed that children these days are very active in general itself. And that's got, also to do with a lot of the information content I mentioned, like when we look at our age, when we grew up as against now, like there is, obviously the information that they receive from multiple sources is a lot. And we have noticed that irrespective of the kid itself, we have noticed that children in general have that, hyperactivity. And definitely we have and that's the first thing that, is that there is this exercise of relaxation, and all children, they learn to do that. The relaxation first relaxes their anxiety, their inner, hyperactivity, all of that, So the first thing that they do is turn inwards, and that actually first reduces, so reduces any, thing that they have. This is in children in general. So even the blindfold activity that you saw, the children, after some time, they're just very quickly able to relax themselves, So the first thing that they do before they even sense something is first to relax, themselves and just completely relax their entire body. They become so adept at this that, they don't have to go through the entire exercise of progressive relaxation of the body. They just have to turn their attention, and instantaneously their body relaxes, their mind relaxes, They actually, in the EEG, we call it shifting from gamma. We have observed this, a child is able to, when we measure their EEG, child is able to shift from the gamma state, which is, very high frequency, to the alpha state. That's why the program is called alpha program, because, they are able to shift to the alpha state, which is a relaxed state very quickly, with training, right? Obviously, and you will see. So many children, we notice that when required, they're able to shift between these two states, the alpha state and the gamma state, when required, which is amazing, because for a lot of people, shifting of their mind state, can take time, to switch between two states, going to a relaxed state, and when necessary, coming back to an active state is not simple, it's not simple for everyone to do it, and children can do that, and I would say that most children can, I would say, and,
Yeah. So higher the consciousness, this shifting is possible, because when our consciousness level is higher, when we go deeper into ourselves with that proper condition of mind, this is very beautiful thing that we achieve. Okay, so now we have one more question. What is the difference between alpha and alpha plus? So we complete alpha, and after that we do alpha plus. Alpha plus takes us deeper. And how much gap should we have between the two? So as soon as you complete alpha, please reach out to us, and we would be happy to train child for alpha plus. 8 years is the right age, very good age actually, with a lot of neuroplasticity, lot of possibilities. Yeah, so I think that answers your question, Shweta ji. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Once again, I thank all of you for joining this webinar, and Dr. Praveen for you. I mean, thank you so much.
Just
No
one.
words to.
Surbi, did you want to also, give a demonstration of if some people want to have also an experience of the relaxed state?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we are running late, but it's just 5 minutes. If you are getting late, you can just go and take that hard step. If you have some time, just 5 more minutes, I can give you that relaxation because this is a very nice suggestion by Dr. Praveen. So I'll take 5 minutes. So whatever I'm going to say, just feel that deep in your heart. So just close your eyes. Feel yourself very comfortable. We are going to experience heartfulness relaxation. If you are wearing spectacles, you can take it out. Just feel relaxed. Close your eyes. We will start relaxation with the toes. Wiggle your toes and feel them relaxed. Relax your feet, your ankles, feel that a healing energy from Mother Earth is coming up, relaxing your lower legs. Allow that healing energy to relax your knees, your thigh muscles, feel that the healing energy is further going up, circulating in your entire back and relaxing it. Feel your chest and abdomen muscles also to be relaxed. Gently bring awareness to your shoulders. And feel that all stress, all tightness in your shoulders is going away. Relaxing your shoulders completely. All stress and tightness is just melting away. Relaxing your shoulders. Allow your biceps, elbows, and forearms to relax. Relax your palms, fingers, and fingertips. Feel that the energy is oozing out of your fingers and your hands are completely relaxed. Allow your neck area to be relaxed. Feel that your cheeks, jaws, and lips are relaxing. Allow your earlobes and your nose also to relax. Feel that your eyes are very softly and gently closed and relaxed. Relax your forehead. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out gently. Let go of all stress and anxiety. Just relax. Gently bring your awareness to your mind. Feel that all stress, all tension is going away, relaxing your mind completely and deeply. Just try to feel it in your heart that your mind is completely and deeply relaxed. Gently bring awareness to your heart. Now feel that all the love of the universe and all the joy of the universe is just there in your heart. Divinity Himself is present in your heart in the form of your own highest consciousness. Feel yourself deeply connected and completely absorbed in the love and joy of your heart. Remain absorbed as long as you want. Very slowly and gently. Bring awareness to the present moment. Wiggle your toes. And open your eyes with a big and beautiful smile. Just try to observe yourself how you are feeling. And please feel free to share in the chat box. How did you feel? And we thank you for joining the session.